Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be attempting to break down the Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker benchmark trailer. This caught me by such a surprise. It's so late in the evening that I'm going to do my best. There's probably going to be things I miss. There's always so many details on the screen with these things that I'm excited just even having it in front of me again. I'm probably going to upload a separate first reaction video, so we're not going to watch it through before I do the breakdown. So if you want to see my initial reaction, that's going to be available on the channel. Watch it for yourself. We're also not going to be including music from the trailer during this either, just because, again, it's going to be largely a breakdown. I don't want to have to hear the music from the trailer over and over again in half-second loops or whatever. So we're going to let it play out at first, and then as I see details, as I need to pause, as I need to see things, I'll make sure to stop and actually take a look at it. This caught me off. I can't believe how early we're getting the benchmark. It took me a second to realize what was happening. So another thing about these benchmark trailers, while they do usually represent the themes for the expansion, they don't normally represent an actual event that is taking place in the expansion. Probably one of the biggest things is this initial scene shows us fighting alongside Garleans. Now, this actually isn't too far-fetched as far as I'm concerned. There's no doubt Garleans that do not wish to be or have not been affected by the events and the ends of Shadowbringer, and likely will be our allies going into Endwalker. So I do suspect that we'll probably see there's probably a legion or two that want to back us up during everything that's going to be happening in the expansion events. We get a good look at some of the Terminus beasts that are being summoned forth. This big scorpion manta ray looking thing is probably the one that pops out the most. We see some other enemy models and reworked enemy models that we've seen before. This is the collector's edition mount that we're seeing right here. I like to call it Charlian Sleipnir. But you can see right here, going to charge into battle. Now, I've been meaning to relook at this, so that I don't think is a new action. That's just a cutscene style thing they're doing in engine, so we're not going to overanalyze that all too much. We're going to, however, look at that. Also not that specific swipe. Now we see he does 3 slashes right there. I wouldn't be surprised if that animation is an upgrade to something else that they have, but I don't think that that's anything. I think that's just cutscene magic. I won't be surprised if we see an animation that is just like that in the actual expansion itself. So then we get just a quick scene here. Going forward with the moon, this is largely symbolic. Again, all the Garleans at your back, right outside of Garlemald and the big tower, the one from the end of Shadowbringer's story. There you go. And then that's just a reminder that it's the Endwalker benchmark trailer right there. It doesn't say benchmark trailer on the screen. Actually, yes, it does. Now it does. Official benchmark. There you go. So now we get a scene out on the ship. This is over in Charlian. Now, again, the whole point of these are to stress tests. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's not a whole lot of details to look at here. And again, don't take any of the events you see here too seriously. While this would be in character for Alphino, I doubt that this scene actually happens as part of the story. That's just not how benchmark trailers work. You can see a market board here in Charlian, in Old Charlian. And now you have him just taking a few notes. He's reading, he's taking a few notes. He's having a good time. He's having a good time. You got a boxman over there on the left. This is likely the crystalline mean equivalent. So I suspected they would probably do something that is like the crystalline mean in Old Charlian. This is almost certainly the crystalline mean equivalent in Old Charlian. So I fully suspect with seeing this that we will see a return of the, I guess, the role quest equivalents for crafters and gatherers. So I'm cool. Looking forward to that. Cool. So you can see going a little bit forward. You can get a few. Now the big thing is that you can actually get a look at a lot of the crafting gear here. So we'd assume that you can see the new miner gear. You can see we have alchemy gear and stuff. If you look around, you can see the various artifact gear. Some of these I believe we've already seen. But this is, if you freeze frame in a few different places, you'll definitely get a better look at a lot of this stuff. Going out here, I'm sure there might be a few new armor sets sprinkled about amongst the various people that we actually see. But largely here, this is all just chill stuff, and it's all right, we're going to go on an adventure. Alphino, I'm bringing you to this trust dungeon. All right, so we're a little bit closer to inside Garlemald. Now this, I need to slow it down, because so many things are on screen trying to find. So they normally highlight certain things Like, you know, they're like, oh, look at this cool new action that this job does. But I'm wondering about all this other stuff. Like, look, like you can see, I'm looking for like actions that we see that I recognize, and I recognize these actions all here. I saw Fire 2, no one cast that. Then it's usually right about here where we get to see new things. And there you go. Gunbreaker doing the gap closer. That's Thancred right there, just chilling. Warrior, look at this. Dude, so that might be... Dude, so Upheaval has them punching. That's a warrior. So Upheaval is a punch move they have now. I wonder if that's like newer Upheaval. And... Or it looks like it's AoE Upheaval is what it looks like to me. Because of this giant circle. But that's a freaking warrior skull. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Warrior, I've seen the AF, I've seen the Axe, and I've seen this. And... I'm more excited for Warrior than I am for most of the jobs. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die mid-video. And yeah, in case you were wondering if it's a Warrior, there's the Axe. There is indeed the Axe. Now let me actually go back and take a look real quick at Thancred here on the right and see if we can catch him doing anything fancy that we couldn't see him doing before. I don't know. Was that No Mercy? I don't remember. I'm a Lalafell, so I don't know. Oh, what the heck? And then that's... Wait. Was that... Man, you know what? I've been playing Gunbreaker a lot lately, but I never noticed when on bigger characters, some of the animations look way cooler. So I have a hard time recognizing some of the animations when I see them on normal-sized people versus my Lalafell. Then we've got Samurai here. So this is Shoha's animation, but it's actually AoE. So I'd assume that Meditation, just getting an AoE equivalent, that's kind of like a bare minimum upgrade to Samurai. That kind of just makes sense. Dancer with a new dance right here. Now, it looks like it's like Standard Step and Technical Step, where it is dealing damage and then providing some kind of buff. But that looks to be like a new Dancer dance right there. That's another one to get. We've got Monk right here with the kicking animations. Now, he hits multiple enemies. Again, don't worry too much about whether or not these abilities actually are AoE, but I wonder if that's like super AoE Tornado Kick. What that looks like to me is it looks like a button that would share a cooldown with Tornado Kick and be AoE. That's not to say that's what it is, but that's what it comes off to as me. To me. Dark Knight was some sort of... So that's not... Is that... Yeah, okay. I think that is the regular TBN animation, but now this on the left is Paladin using what I assume is the Paladin equivalent of TBN. So that's how I would analyze that. That is not TBN. Okay. That's not a normal TBN, but it's a shield of some kind. So whatever this is, these two abilities probably do something very similar. It could be just like a level up bonus. So like, you know how when you level up skills, you get traits that enhance abilities. It could be an upgraded TBN of some kind because it is very, yeah, it's got TBN feels, even though it doesn't, it's not the exact same thing as TBN. That, man, again, when I see the animations in this, I have to wonder, do I look like that when I do them? Because like, I feel like my gap closer doesn't look that cool. Maybe it's the cape physics. I don't know. Because I swear, when I do my gap closer on Paladin, it just doesn't look that cool. It just doesn't. This is Ninja. They're getting another clone. They literally like teleport a clone forward. And then it like does a strike. And then you see these like the giant like wind AoE here. So you see it right here? Does it. Bam. Summons clone. Clone goes forward. Kicks wind. Disappears. Done. Alright. And then we've got Estinian coming in hot. I wouldn't take any ability he uses all too seriously, given the fact that he has cutscene. He has NPC powers, basically. Let's see right here. Then we just have a bunch of enemies walking out towards you. And then, alright, come on. A bunch of Terminus beasts all just walking out of the tower. And then, bam! Blast in the face. I believe that's a heat blast animation. It's weird seeing it come from that angle. But it does come from a machinist, so I think that's just the Heat Blast animation. And then we've got a male Vieira machinist right here, just chilling, showing off. They've got the high ground, of course. Don't try it, Anakin. We got the egg going for a cast over here. Now, this I didn't get a good look at last time because we see this animation right here. And that, see, unfortunately, I'm not too keen on Red Mage animations, but that just looks like, that doesn't look like Scorch entirely. Like, it doesn't look like Scorch at all, actually, but it almost looks like Scorch. It looks more thundery than it does Scorch-y. Maybe if it's like a Thunder equivalent of Scorch. Yeah, it's very thundery. Well, Thunder is a dot on Black Mage, so maybe it's a dot? I don't know. I've been saying I feel like they're going to add dots to a lot of jobs in Endwalker, but they're going to be like 30 or 60 second cooldowns that you use in burst windows and not like dots that you upkeep like Bard or Summoner. So that might just be falling in line with that prediction. It's hard to tell what it would actually do with that. So we've got that. That's just a regular GCD animation for Machinist. There's nothing fancy there. However, this right here pulls out a shotgun. Boom! That's probably, honestly, just upgraded AoE skill, base AoE skill. It could be their Hypercharge skill being upgraded as well. That's probably more likely it's their Hypercharge upgrade. But it looks to just be like a Conal AoE. So maybe it does something fancy. I don't think it does. So we've got, oh man, see these are the scenes I'm talking about. Like the scene going from here to here. Like look at all the animations around. Like I see the Paladin animations on the left. Like I can't like there's a flare on the right. I see a few abilities I recognize in the back. There's a what's it called? A Scholar. And got Y'shtola and Black Mage here. They look to be casting, I'm assuming that's Fire 5 or Despair 2. It's a big explosion. That's it. It's a big explosion. And they both casted it slightly off time. Alright. Let's go to the next one. I see, yeah, there's an AoE right there. Here we go. They are here to fight as well. Perfect. Big explode. Come on. We can do it. There's more details to be had. I know there is. I think it's in a later section, though. The next one. There's Amric. There we go. We got everybody. Bam! That's just cutscene powers. I wouldn't take what the NPCs are doing all too seriously. They got cutscene powers. There we are. Okay. Oh, that's right, this next section. So this next section is a lot of people wondering. So the enemy we see in this next section, I'll wait till they're on screen, but they look like a certain someone that we know. Or a certain something that we know. And I'm very curious to see what the lore ends up being behind this creature right here. Because it is almost certainly designed after a certain interdimensional weapon that we've become accustomed to. So this is an Omega bot. That is Omega right there. Do I think it's Omega? No. Do I think that it is designed after Omega? 100%. That is Omega with a chain gun is what it is. And he also has like sage weapons on the side too. It's basically the Beetleborg model, but the legs, like he flies and the legs are all outward extended during the fight, and he has a chain gun, and he has the sage. This is insane. So this is probably a Fate boss. This is probably like an Archaeotania, Coral, Regina, you know, stuff like that. This is probably one of those. But this thing is nuts. This thing is Omega Jace, and it's a sage too, see? He's a sage. And he just goes absolutely berserk. And the thing is, we were told playing through Omega would be a good idea before. If you haven't done the Omega story, you're not up to date on the Omega story. Ishikawa specifically labeled Omega as one of the stories that she would recommend that you do before playing Endwalker. So the fact that this is here, I want to imagine that the OMG that Alpha is with did not get captured and turned into that. And that this is literally just built off Allegan, like, you know, Allegan technology that was found they tried to like recreate Omega, and then that monstrosity is part of what came out of it. And then we just get a Sage. Sage has an AoE heal. Cool. There you go. Sage has an AoE heal. Well, it's fancy right there. Yeah, see, just look at this thing. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. It's even got a helmet. It's got a little helmet over its little head. And then we just see we get cutscene wings power here. This reminds me right here. This is just regular wings, but they cutscene power it where they make it seem like it does something way cooler than what it does. They did this back in Heavensward benchmark where they showed the tank blocking a fireball from Nidhogg, and it's like it's cutscene powers. So that's all there really is to it. Yeah, they gotta sell. They had to sell. Well, they don't have to sell the collector's edition thing much anymore. They've gone and done that already. Look at everybody. There's so many of them. This is basically a giant job showcase right here. I think there's one of every job there. That looks to be the new. I see. The thing is, again, it's one of those things where I don't know the animations well enough. It looks like a new scholar animation, some sort of. It doesn't just look like a heal. And then this. So that is like Benison on crack, is what that is. Yeah, that was like a new scholar shield, and that was like Benison on crack. That was like Fluid Aura Aqua Veil Benison. And then this is just Goring Blade. So. Then we're going to skip ahead a few scenes. We're in Razahand. There's our boy Vritra, of course, just flying by with us. I don't think we see any mounts. Another look at the Gatherer artifact armor, in case you didn't have a good look at it before. There's a pretty good look at all three of them right there for the Gatherers in particular. There's the mount. They're flying over another town. We're going to look at one of the beast tribes, whose name that will take me a while to be able to remember how to pronounce. I don't think we get a look at any new mounts here. So I'm kind of skipping ahead. You see Ixion, Sildra, Twintania, which has got to be a weird thing to see flying here. Yeah. The shark. Somebody went ocean fishing. And then Vritra flying alongside. The fact that we've only seen Vritra and Razahand in all of the promotional stuff makes me think that that's where he's kind of been hanging out. Maybe atop the Giant Skull Spire in the back. And then we get a really, really cool final scene here. So I don't think there's anything too much to analyze right at the beginning here. I see a ninja doing a weapon skill. I see Ifrit Eggy, in case you're wondering. What is this? I don't recognize that just happened right there. I see the Malefic over on the right. Yeah, you see a few Sage abilities right here on the left. I think we see that a couple of times, actually. They do a zoom in. Like, what the heck is that? See, that. What was that? That looked like... Wait, what was that? Oh, that was just... It's just slow motion Fletch. That's all it was. So we see some stars. There we go. That looks to be a shield. I'm assuming that's one of their new skills, because you got to remember, Astro, obviously with their rework, they're being moved to being a pure healer, but we expect that they will have a Benison equivalent like White Mage has for single targets. Looks to just be the case with that skill right there. There is a new Dragoon weapon skill right there. The final bit of that animation is actually the True Thrust animation, so it looks to be an upgraded True Thrust, which would mean that it would be a follow-up after Raiden Thrust. So kind of a logical next point, but I still don't know. I feel like that's just kind of... I can't really be too excited other than the animation for that. We get this right here. That looks to just be a new cartridge skill. That's not Burst Strike. That's a new skill altogether. Then we get, the Sage. This is, there's all the things. That's an offensive skill. That's the same offensive skill that we saw when we were first coming in that I slowed down to try and see. Bard, that looked to be an AoE of some kind. Because I thought it was, what's it called at first, but the animation ends a lot different. It's just like 3 arrows, it's like 6 arrows that fly off. So, I don't know. I'm still about seeing the Bard skill there, to be honest. Now, this one's causing probably the biggest uproar. So we actually see Ifrit Eggy. That's a dash. That's a summoner dashing and exploding through the enemy. Now let me see, does Ifrit go? So Ifrit's right there on the left. Does he stay there throughout the whole animation? Let me just make sure Ifrit doesn't disappear of any kind. Ifrit No, he's still there. Okay, he just kind of gets obscured by the legs in the back. Yeah, so I'm wondering, so Summoner's the only of the caster that doesn't have a movement skill. Their mobility is good, but they don't have a movement skill. Red Mage has a gap closer and a backflip. Black Mage has between the lines and ethereal manipulation. And while some might argue that Summoner doesn't need a movement skill, sometimes you want a movement skill. So I'm wondering, because if that was a skill that is always a movement skill, regardless of which summon you have out, but the animation changes depending on which pet you actually have out. Because that would actually imply that maybe they're doing that to more than a single skill, where they're actually trying to, whatever summon you have out, more changes the appearance of the things that you're doing and less just changes the Eggy in its own appearance. That would be in line with them saying that they felt like they needed to do more with Eggy Glam, or like they needed to stop development on Eggy Glam, because suddenly Eggy Glam isn't Eggy Glam anymore. It's more of a an everything glam. There is also the possibility that it's something more Phoenix related, but I can't help but notice the Ifrit right there. Like, it's just, I don't get Phoenix vibes from this. I just get fire. I guess that's the thing. It's just fire. You know, it really could be either or. But it's a gap closer. The summoner ability, without a doubt, that's a gap closer. And a Phoenix gap closer is possible. Ifrit gap closer is possible. So I wouldn't be surprised to see either or of them. We're still just curious about that. And then our Reaper teaser is, of course, going to be Xenos here himself. Although some of the things he does are not things that Reaper will probably not be doing. Let me give you a quick example of one thing that Reaper will probably not be doing on the regular. Is kicking Alisei in the face. Because, boom! Oh, she blocks it. Never mind. It looked way worse the first time I saw it. So he actually blocks an attack here. That's probably Xenos powers and not Reaper powers, to be fair. The kick, hey, you know what? Maybe they do have the kick. Who knows? Then we go for a swing here. He parries it. I think the only one skill I confidently feel like is an actual Reaper skill is the one final skill that we see. This wouldn't surprise me. This just looks like that could probably be the animation for like a, you know, an AoE skill of some kind anyway. Yeah, because these are all just like cutscene power style things, and he just uses the butt of it to knock her away. Like some of these animations you might see on Reaper, I wouldn't be surprised, but you know, or like they were probably even in the trailer. It's been months since I've watched the trailer for it. And then you have this right here. This is almost certainly the Reaper LB3. I think this is the one Reaper teaser that they had. Yoshi P even called specific attention to it, saying watch the skill, slow it down, and like, you know, take a look at it. We do get one other Sage skill right here, a box. I'm assuming. So here's the thing. All four healers, they showed a single target shield skill. And that's assuming, again, they're Benison. And there you go. Reaper LB3. Put him in the box. And of course, cutscene powers. Block it with the shield. On top of that. Come on. You can do it. I believe in you. You come on, you're the hero. You got the stubble. I forgot how long. Okay, in 0.25 speed, this is taking a while. And then we just get, you can see the resonant in his eye, by the way. I like that little detail right there. And again, these are not events. Like, we're probably not going to face Xenos in like a giant epic climactic battle here on the top of the tower in Radzat Hand. Who knows, maybe we do. But they often throw enemies or bosses in here that are not actually related to the dungeon at all, or they like combine them with other ones that are. I remember in Stormblood, it was like Susanoo, Daigoro, and Yojimbo in the like in the level 63 dungeon final boss room. It's like most of the time it's just nonsense that they do for the sake of these benchmark trailers. So I wouldn't take any of that part too seriously. And so yeah, that was dope. On Sunday, we're going to be able to download this. You're going to be able to test to see how well your PC can play it. You're going to have access to the male Viera in the character creator, which you can save and use when the game actually launches, when Endwalker itself actually launches in November. And so, yeah, got some good stuff going. So it's really late for me, though. That was a fun little breakdown. I'm curious to see where some of these details go, especially this little detail on the screen right here. And I will be wrapping up this video and then wrapping up my stream in a few minutes probably as well. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. We cover all things Final Fantasy XIV, so be sure to check out some of the other videos on the channel. And on that note, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, take care.